Well, brothers and sisters, what is going on? This is still Sermon in the House. Friday morning, another video. And as always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. Links are posted in the box down below. So I'm just going to piggyback off of something that I had mentioned in my pre-game preview for the Steelers and the Panthers. And honestly, I don't care if anyone disagrees with me. I don't care what you guys think. These are just my opinions. And I know that this video is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. I can already tell that. But in my pre-game preview, I mentioned that Kenny Pickett should honestly be shut down for the rest of the season. And in my opinion, so should TJ Watt. And it's not because of a lack of an effort. It's not because that I don't think they're any good. But here's the reason why. As for Kenny Pickett, this is the second season, or the second time this season that he's had a concussion. And he's more likely going to miss Sunday's game rather than play it, because we all know how seriously the NFL takes concussion protocol nowadays, especially with what happened to Tua Tagovailoa earlier in the season. So with me, I love Kenny Pickett. I do really like him, and I think that he has potential to be a really solid starter for us in the future. And I think that he is the quarterback of this team. He gives us the best chance at winning. He makes smart decisions, and honestly, we're starting to see him develop into having a winning pedigree. Because I'm starting to get more faith in him when the chips are down, we need a comeback, that he can lead this team to a comeback victory. Like what Big Ben did. The guy's just evolving into a winner. It seems like he's past his phase of throwing, 3-4 interceptions a game. It seems like he's past the phase of, just trying to squeeze passes that are not meant to be thrown by him. He's learning. But do you think it's really worth having a young quarterback at age 24 go out there when this team is 5-8, pretty much eliminated from playoff contention? We're officially eliminated from playoff contention Sunday if we lose this game. And we got nothing to play for. So do you really think it's worth it to have him go out there and risk his health again? To me, it's not worth it. I think that he needs to sit out for this game. And honestly, I think he needs to sit out for the rest of the season. There's no point in putting him in there, absorb the risk of him getting concussion, absorb the risk of him getting hurt in general. Because if we're serious about this guy being the quarterback of the future, and we're serious about this guy being the guy for us, he can't be playing in games that don't mean anything for us. So I think it's best to give him the rest of the season off and say, you know what, Kenny, you did a great job in your rookie season. You did a real good job. There's a lot of building blocks to build off on. And let's have you just study the playbook for the rest of the season. We're going to have Mason Rudolph. Yes, you heard that correctly. We're going to have Mason Rudolph come in and just do mop-up for the rest of the season. And that's who I think should be starting Sunday, honestly, is Mason Rudolph. Because, let's face it, he's the quarterback on this team who has been the quarterback on this team for the longest time now that Big Ben's retired. This is Mason Rudolph's 5th season. And while I don't think Mason Rudolph is a particularly great quarterback, he does have knowledge about this offense, and he does have starter experience. And you got literally nothing to lose at this point, because like I said, you're 5-8. We're gonna have the first losing season with Mike Tomlin as a head coach. We're gonna have our first losing season since 2003. So what's the point of putting your franchise quarterback out there for literally no reason when he's unhealthy, and not putting a guy who hasn't even put on his helmet for the entire season? Because I'm telling you, like I said, Mitch Trubisky, I wouldn't give that guy a second year at all. Needs to get out of here. Guy is just completely useless. Mason Rudolph hasn't played the whole season. And he was inactive last week against the Ravens. So activate him this week. Make him be active for this game and have him be the starter. Have him go out there these final 4 games. Because, there's 4 games left of the season. And I get that this season is all about Kenny Pickett's development. I get that the time that Kenny Pickett's been in there, to have him develop, and I completely see that. But like I've said, he's injured. We know that he can evolve more. But we have a whole other season next year to do that. Kenny Pickett is going to have all the offseason, training camp, most of preseason, and then the entire season next year to build off of what he did this year. So I think it makes all the sense in the world to just give him the rest of the season off and have Mason Rudolph, a guy who is pretty much irrelevant to this team, okay? Mason Rudolph is a free agent after this season, and I anticipate him to not be a member of this team beyond 2023. So I think it's only fair that for a guy who hasn't played the entire season, he's only seen action in preseason, to just let him play mop-up for the rest of the season. I think that's fair. And then I want to talk about the big one in TJ Watt. I know it's very easy to throw TJ Watt's injury under the bus for why this defense has been very underwhelming this year, to put it lightly. I understand that. But here's the thing. What has TJ really done since he came back? 1.5 sacks for TJ since he came back. I mean, sure, the defense has played better when TJ Watt's presence was there, but let's not act like TJ Watt himself hasn't. Let's not act like TJ Watt himself has done anything magnificent since coming back from injury. He really hasn't done a whole lot besides just generate a few bits of pressure and then that 1.5 sacks. This is a guy who's the reigning defensive player of the year. He's missed most of the season. And does it really make any sense to have him risk him going out there and getting injured again? Because there were times, I think it was the Baltimore game, I think it was either that or the Atlanta game, within the past couple weeks, I'll say that. There were times where you saw him panting heavily on the sidelines. There were times where you saw him trying to catch his breath. There were times where you saw him, kind of favoring his pecs again and his biceps. So are you sure TJ's at 100%? Are you sure that he is fully healthy to go for the rest of the season? It kind of seems like this is an injury that we were rushing to get back from. And I do understand that TJ Watt is the best player on this team. He is the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion. But don't you think that health matters first? I love TJ. I love him as much as the next guy. He's my favorite guy on the team. But you want to know what? Health comes first. And if TJ Watt is not 100% good to go, if TJ is still out there, trying to catch his breath, trying to, do too much because he's not fully good to go, don't you think that's more important than just watching him go out there and play and risk his health? Because that's what I think. I want what's best for TJ Watt because I'm a fan of his. I want what's best for this logo because I'm a fan of this logo. And I want what's best for Kenny Pickett as well because I am a fan of Kenny Pickett. I am a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We all have our favorites, and sometimes the team makes very unpopular decisions, and I think this is a prime example of an unpopular decision that I honestly think we should make for Sunday's game. Kenny Pickett, have him be done for the rest of the season. 2 concussions this season, and with how severe the NFL takes concussions now and concussion protocol, it doesn't matter to me if he's cleared to play. This year was all about development. This year was a bridge year. He's going to have the entire offseason to study. He's going to have preseason to study. And then when the 17 games next year comes, we know that Kenny Pickett can play all 17 games, and we know that he is the quarterback of this team. So what sense does it make to throw him out there against a tough defense in Carolina, mind you, and risk him getting hurt again? And beyond that, if he's good to go for Christmas Eve, we got Vegas. And if he's still not good to go there, we got New Year's Day against the Baltimore Ravens, the very team that injured him. They have a tough defense. Just think about that. I know it's unpopular. I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, my thoughts here. But sometimes I like to go way outside the box with my takes on this team. And I think this Sunday and beyond, honestly, for the rest of the season, Mason Rudolph should be the starter. Just give him his chance this season. Just give him his opportunity to play this year. And then after this season, we don't have to worry about Mason Rudolph anymore. And hopefully, we don't have to worry about Mitch Trubisky anymore. Just think about that for a second. And that'll do it for this video. Let me know what you think down below. This is Steel Sermon checking on out for the day. May God be with you all.